So, like,
work
what do you
for
guys
me.
do
And
when?
those are funny responses.
So, what do you guys do when women come at you with stuff like follow my Instagram, like sign up for my OnlyFans, I'm looking for a sugar daddy? Like, what do you do
Immediate
then?
out.
Yeah.
Immediate
Just
next.
laugh,
Here's
laugh and
here's
leave.
here's how I've had it happen to me. I'm like, hey, look, because they can tell usually. Here's another thing I didn't know until I was starting to chat with a lot of these gals. Your name comes up. I have my first and last name on there, so as soon as they match, they can actually see both, right? And so I'm a pretty easy Google search. So I don't get a lot of that stuff. What I do get is I'll say, hey, look, I'm a pretty busy guy. Like, let's meet for a drink or two. If it works out, we'll plan something else in the future, but I don't want to waste a lot of our time. And I'll get the girls that say, like, well, I want to go on a proper date and I want to be taken out to dinner. I'm like, okay, then you probably need to go see somebody else because I've got way too much stuff going on. And you literally run. I mean, you guys know how it is. You like run through these chicks like this one's crazy. This one's got this one. Like you could tell within a couple of drinks. It's like, all right, this is, I got to move on here.
The girls that do that kind of stuff are losing on their side of the game. So if you look at it, it's all just a game. And if you approach it just like having fun, and the more people that play the game, the more the cheaper you're going to sell yourself because the market's saturated. So these girls that are like, oh, I want a proper date. Okay, you're 29, looks are fading. Maybe you didn't take care of yourself. Your skin's starting to age. I've got a 20-year-old who's game to do anything I want. And she's on the way over now if I want her to. So who are you competing? A lot of girls don't realize that they're competing in a sexual marketplace too. So for me, those kind of ones, I'm like, I'm nice, I'm cordial, but you learn to play the game like a girl does, essentially, guys. You learn to dismiss them. Just let them down real soft, real easy. Yeah. You don't want to scorn them because then they'll follow you on social media and stalk you. And
bottom line is it's not genuine desire because she's trying to negotiate something with you. Like follow me for, become one of my beta orbiters or give me money or give me money over here so you can look at pictures of my butthole or whatever. Like,
I think it's important to double down on Wingman's point, though, as far as leading. I think it's funny because I think a lot of guys gravitate to Bumble because most dudes are so What's the biggest question that guys in pickup or talking to chicks get asked? How do you open a girl? What do I say to her? What do I say?
My name is.
Right. But I'm saying so guys go to Bumble, and that's a really interesting one because it's a code. It's like, oh, cool. Like now the work is done for me. And they don't understand that 99.99% of girls don't have game, and they open with the same boring BS that a guy was like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how was your weekend? Or some bullshit like pancakes or waffles. And guys are pissed, and they're like, what the hell is this? And
they're like, low-tier women on those apps, man. Don't waste your time.
When girls would do that with me, I don't even address it. I just go in and I start the conversation on something completely different. I don't answer the question. I don't answer how my weekend was. I just say I'm now in control of this conversation. I'm leading it where I want to go. And 99% of the time, they don't care because they just want the burden off of them of having to make the small talk and the BS. I just take it on a completely different tangent.
Women get incredibly frustrated with the amount of work that they put into dating with the returns that they get. Trust me, like there's not a lot of guys that have game. Like the stuff that we're talking about here is level 10 shit. Like pay attention tonight, guys. What's up, Paul?
What's up, man? How do I sound? I don't know.
Yeah, you sound good. You sound good.
It's a little muffled, but we can hear you. One of the things I found is I absolutely love. There you go. I absolutely love going out and picking up. Like, here's what I found. It's like it doesn't matter what you say. Like none of that shit matters. Like, oh, this is the opener. Just say it with a little bit of confidence. So there's a couple of guys I'll go out with, and we've got some rules. So let's say there's a table of girls, 4 or 5 girls. You really want that 50% ratio. You don't want like all these dudes, kind of like hunting these handful of chicks, right? And so the deal I got with some buddies of mine, I said, look, if you think she's cute, you can go over there and introduce yourself or whatever you think game is. You can go do that. So they get about 30 seconds. And I tried this, to be honest, we were at a happy hour and I was a couple of drinks in. I'm like, I'm going to let this one rip. So I lean over to this table of girls and I said, hey, my gay boyfriend thinks you're cute. They all start laughing. Obviously, we're not gay, right? I mean, you can tell in 2 seconds. But what was fun is the one guy gets up and goes.
Don't read the comments afterward, Jason.
So,
fair warning.
Yeah, because they're going to say that's self-deprecating, bro. You shouldn't do that. It's low value, whatever. But we had a great time. And I think with a lot of this dating app and a lot of this stuff, like you had said earlier, Rich, like these guys spurg out on this stuff. And it's like, it's not that hard, dude. Just be confident and just say, look, this is how I do it. We start matching, we chat for a couple minutes. Okay, great. Look, I'm not on these apps all the time. So here's my number, send me a text. Or you can give me your number and I'll text you. I don't care. Here's my number, we'll text back and forth, right? And then you're immediately like, now you're going back and forth. Okay, cool. I can meet you Tuesday. Well, I can do Thursday. Sorry, I can't see you till next week. Like, guys are making this way harder than it needs to be. Like, I kind of look at it as sales. It's like, all I'm trying to do is get in front of the opportunity here. And maybe it's an opportunity. Maybe it's just a prospect and not an opportunity, but let's get in front. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, but JB, let's talk about that real quick, right?
Okay.
Because this is something that, like, this be confident thing, right? I mean, confidence comes from competence. So, I mean, it's one of those, like, where does that come from, right? I mean, you have a high degree of success. You have, experience now. You've got wins that you've stacked. If we're talking to the everyman here, I mean, I equate be confident almost, or if on the same plane as just be yourself, because it's like, where does it, like, how do I build off of that? It's like, where does confidence come from, right? So, I mean, how do I get there?
So,
because I think fake it till you make it is, I don't buy it, because I think if we know anything about women and how good they are at picking up on covert communication and BS, they're better at picking up than we are as guys. So they can smell that.
Generally speaking, both Moff and Bible mean the same thing. It's just Bible's definition of confidence, can be expanded on different ways, right? I mean, you could literally message a chick, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and if you look like the hot dude from the phone cannon party and you got your shit together and you have a wonderful life that she looks like she might want to be invited into to hang out with, she'll be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
What I would say to answer,
she'll look at your Instagram and be like, "Oh, you're hot. Like,
Yeah.
Are you in town? What are you doing? What plans this weekend?" They'll come to you if you present them a good enough opportunity or a representation of what your lifestyle is like. But another thing is, you actually have to live that lifestyle. So if you project it, and there's still a gap between reality and what I call the analog world and the digital world, if you can bridge that gap in your life online, it reflects your life in real life in the analog world, then it's a lot easier, because then essentially I just invite girls to join my day. My day's already interesting. So just, if you show up, great. If not, my day's still going to be great. So
I mean, to Moff's point, I think to address his question, what I would say is that, I would translate be confident and be yourself, right, as to go out there and try, right? Because, all right, again, talking to the guy that's, hey, I just turned 23. I'm starting from ground zero, some scratch, right? The idea and thought of like, I'm going to go out and like have this confidence and swag, right? It's probably going to seem like, you're talking about, hey, let's get from here to Mars. So I would say like, what the core message is, hey, go out and try, right? You have to go out and try different things. You have to go out and you have to make those approaches, whether they're virtual approaches where you're talking to people online and trying to get matches, or they're in-person approaches. You have to go out and you have to try. It's a continuous learning process. And from that, you start to build and piece together elements that you can then incorporate into an overall formula that really works for yourself. And you can kind of discover your own sort of personal science that really enables you to maximize the connections that you're having and the direction you want to take them. So that would be the advice I'd give. That's
the exact breakdown I think that's important to differentiate. I think that we need to take it that step further and granulate it a little bit.